¿Cómo ha sido volver a encontrarte con Kate Waters como protagonista de este libro, pero también cómo ha sido verla en la faceta de madre con el resto de madres de la novela?
How has it been to meet Kate Waters again in this new novel? Because we saw her before in the previous novel, but in this novel we see her as well in her facet as a mum with other mums as well. How has that been?
It's been like coming home. I know Kate very well. I think perhaps we share some DNA, but I decided that she would be the investigator in my second book, mainly because reporters have fewer rules and regulations when they're investigating something, fewer rules and regulations than the policeman. So I thought it would be nice to have her leading the hunt. It's a story that she is fascinated by, and she wants to get out of the office. She's a reporter. She's fed up with just looking at screens. So it was lovely to come back to her in the second book. And the other reason, I think, is because of the interest of readers in Kate. I thought everybody, the reader, would be interested in Jean, the widow, but all the questions were about Kate and journalists.
Algo que me ha encantado de este libro es conocer a la sociedad inglesa de los años 70, 80, incluso del 2000, o sea, de actual. ¿Cómo ha sido esa investigación de barrios que ahora han desaparecido, de lugares, incluso de personas?
It's been fascinating for me to find out about the British society of the 70s, the 80s, and even the year 2000. So I was wondering, how has the research process been about, districts maybe that have disappeared, places that used to be there, not there any longer?
I'm very grateful to Google Maps. But I've walked the districts. It's a part of London that I know. I've lived in that area. And I've looked at old newspapers. I had a wonderful time. I bought a book about a magazine that I used to have when I was a teenager, Jackie. I don't think you had it here, but it's been lovely and I bought lots of music from around that time to give me a flavour of what it was like, to take me back to what it was like. No, I loved doing that, loved it.
Algo que también me gusta en la novela es Kate vive y sabe lo que es internet, pero también es una periodista no chapada a la antigua, pero sí que sabe cómo ingeniárselas. ¿Cómo ha sido hacer el personaje de Kate en esta novela en donde no llega el internet, porque ha tenido que sumergirse en periódicos, ha tenido que ir a hablar con gente? ¿Cómo ha sido crear este personaje en esta novela que está en el siglo XXI, pero también está más hacia atrás en el tiempo?
I also like the character of Kate because she is the kind of a journalist who lives in the present, of course, and she knows her way around the internet. But she's also quite old school, like an old school journalist. She really needs to dig in a little bit. She needs to research a little bit in newspapers. She needs to interview people. So how has it been to create this character that is so set in the 21st century, but also way back in the past?
I confess that I share some of Kate's cry of rage against progress. She's younger than I am, but what I recognise is the change that happened so quickly. It was seismic. It was like an earthquake in journalism when the internet and the possibilities that the internet gave became reality. It was, I started journalism when we had great big typewriters that you had to bash with your fingers, and you had to ring in your copy from a telephone box. It was, and then all of a sudden, you could be anywhere, you could reach anybody. It was a wonderful thing, but quite frightening for journalists who had trained in the old methods. Everything had to change very quickly. So in order to torture Kate still further, I gave her Joe, the new journalist, who is all about online. He loves it, he knows it, and I liked that they could help each other, they could learn from each other, and it made me laugh because poor Kate, she struggles. Yeah.
Es una novela no solo con 4 mujeres como voces, como protagonistas, es una novela con muchas preguntas, muchos interrogantes, y me gustaría preguntarla, si tuvieses que hacer alguna pregunta a alguna de las protagonistas del libro que no está hecha dentro del libro, ¿qué te gustaría preguntar y a qué protagonista, a qué mujer?
Well, this is a novel with 4 female characters, strong female characters. There are many questions that are being asked, but I was wondering if there was a question that wasn't actually asked to any of the characters, what would that question be, and who would you ask it to? If you wanted to ask a question to any of the characters, what would that question be?
Gosh, that's a difficult question. Because I have created those characters, so I know them very well. I know the stuff that is not in the book, because when I start writing characters, I ask myself a lot of questions that probably will never appear in a book, but things that make us who we are. So, what was my favourite subject? What was Emma's favourite subject at school? Was she the sort of girl who made friends easily at school? What games did she play? All the background to a character that I need in order to make them feel more real when I put them in the book. But most of it is never used. I think a lot of writers do this. They write a biography, a full biography, and they go back generations. What did their grandfather or their grandmother do? And it's all because I know, and I'm sure you know, that it's what makes us who we are. All of those things, the traits that we have inherited, the family background, all of those things. And I'm really interested in that, in what makes us tick.
El libro se llama La Madre y, como decíamos antes, tenemos varias madres, pero hay algo que me ha sorprendido mucho, sobre todo del carácter de Jude, que es un personaje a la que no entendemos, yo al principio, y luego al final la llegamos incluso a odiar. ¿Crees que Jude en su interior sabe o sabía lo que estaba ocurriendo con su hija, o su ego o su enamoramiento la cegaba?
Well, of course the novel is called The Child, but in Spanish it's called The Mother,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So there are several mothers in the novel. And one of the characters that actually shocked me the most was Jude, because I didn't understand Jude at first. And then by the end of the novel, I actually started hating her a little bit. So I was wondering, do you think Jude knew deep down what was going on with her daughter, and maybe her ego, maybe this infatuation, incredible infatuation she had, prevented her from seeing it or coming to terms with it?
I don't think she did. I think she was the sort of woman who was so self-centered that she didn't see what was around her if it wasn't about her. She was infatuated. I know people struggle with Jude, but I really enjoyed writing her because it was interesting to put yourself in the position of that personality She's a very selfish woman, very selfish. But there are moments when I thought, poor Jude, she was desperate, doesn't forgive what she did. I have to be careful not to have any spoilers, but no, I really felt that she was so inward looking that she didn't notice because it wasn't about her.
En esta novela las fotografías, pero las fotografías sacadas con Polaroid, con carretes a la antigua usanza, son un elemento esencial. También es una novela de objetos. ¿También crees tú también que es una novela de objetos antiguos que pueden sacar cosas a la luz?
Well, this is a novel where, for example, Polaroid pictures, like old school pictures, play an essential key role, really. So it's a novel of objects as well. Do you think it is a novel of objects, at least a novel in which old objects shed light on new events or facts?
Yes, absolutely, yes. There are some key moments in it, and it's really all about photographs, isn't it? It's the appalling friend with his photographs, and then the Polaroids that Emma finds. And I wanted to kind of capture moments, and I always thought Polaroids did it so well because they're so old-fashioned. Everybody in a Polaroid looks slightly startled. I don't know why, but they do. And because they're very small, so you're not quite sure what you're looking at sometimes. And then you focus and you realise what you're looking at. And I loved that image of looking at a picture and not really knowing, not understanding, and then that realisation of what you are looking at. So yes, that there are a number of objects in the book, but as I say, no spoilers. But yes, and I think that's very helpful to carry, I hope anyway, to carry the narrative forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. They were very good questions.